Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. My sister lost her job and couldn't afford to pay rent, so I offered her and her kids to stay at our house. My daughter from the start hated this, as we only live in a 2-bedroom home, so she had to sleep on the couch. I told my daughter it'll only be for a few weeks. However, it has turned into 3 months. I still support my sister, as she had a job offer recently, but had no way to get to her job. I tried to convince my daughter to trade in her 2-seater to get a bigger car to help my sister and her kids. However, she flat out refused, even after I offered to buy back her car once my sister moved out. After this argument, I was sick of my daughter not offering any help, so I told her to take everything out of her room, as my sister and her kids needed it more. She asked me what I meant by everything. I told her everything she owned. This was my mistake, as like her father, she would do anything out of spite. I was at work a few days ago and got a text from my sister asking if my daughter was renovating her room, since men in high-vis vests were in the house. I was confused at this, and when I came home, her entire room was empty. She ripped out all of the furniture, the light fixtures, and even tore down her ensuite bathroom. I was furious at this, as I obviously expected her only to take out her belongings, not to gut the entire room. I started screaming at her about how my sister and her kids have no place to sleep anymore. She tried to act innocent and just kept repeating that I had told her to remove anything she owned. She left after that, taking her car with her, leaving all of us with no transportation. She hasn't talked to me since and ignores all calls from her family. I just want to talk it out with her and get her to believe how inappropriate her actions were. Damn, OP. You got people here straight up forgetting that this isn't Am I the A-hole? Because, yeah, you're the a-hole here. You can barely afford the house's expenses on your own. Unilaterally decided to move in 3 additional people and kicked out your daughter, who was paying the bills of the house, from her room that she paid for, in rent and in improvements, and tried to strong-arm her into giving up her vehicle to be the unpaid chauffeur for her aunt and cousins. You tried to use your daughter, and she had enough. You made decisions that would affect her financially without her input nor her agreement. Her actions, while eye-popping in audacity, were pretty reasonable for someone who's done being used to unwillingly pay for 3 additional people when she's already paying for her mother. The inappropriate individual here is you, for steamrolling your adult, bill-paying, rent-paying tenant daughter. My God, you are simply a horrible mother. You kick your daughter out of her room that she spent money renovating, expect her to sell her car that is fine for her needs, to drive your sister around. She is not responsible for your sister and her kids. Your daughter didn't destroy the relationship, you did, and the fact you are arguing with people about your actions is disgusting. Sounds like your daughter is going to be much happier wherever she ends up without you and your sister in her life. Her actions of gutting the room and bathroom weren't from spite. She paid for it all, so she took it. You and your sister don't get to take advantage of the things she paid for, all the while kicking her out. I'm curious, once it got past a few weeks, why didn't you offer to sleep on the couch? Why was it up to your daughter to provide transportation for your sister? You put supporting another family on your daughter, while giving up duck all. No wonder she was pissed off. I'm a 27-year-old guy, and my stepdad raised me and my 3 brothers and 1 sister. He met us when we were between the ages of 4 and 9, and he has been the best father since. Our bio dad passed away from illness, and I have fond but very fuzzy memories of him. So our stepdad is the only dad we know. This guy worked his butt off every day for us. He moved us away from the city when we were kids, so we'd have more area to play and grow as kids. He paid for half of all of our college tuitions. He took us to every single game, fair, activity known to man as we were growing up. He was, and is, the best dad ever. Basically, we love him. Now, my mom broke up with him, maybe 2 years ago, because he cheated on her. Very crappy, I know, but it wasn't out of the blue, and there was very questionable behavior on her part also. He has continued to be an amazing father to all of us kids. It turned out the woman he had cheated on my mom with was pregnant. My brothers and I decided that this kid is basically our sister, and we have supported our father in making sure he knows we will look after this little girl also. It isn't about picking favorites, But rather, the attitude my stepdad has taught us is to just roll with the punches, and family is everything. My sister completely flipped out on our dad, saying that he's playing favorites because obviously he's in love with this little baby. She's cute and tiny, and coming up to a year old, and obviously he's experiencing fatherhood for an infant the first time since he missed it with us. She has stopped talking to our dad, and in our tiny community, she has been trashing his name, saying he's a loser, etc. My dad has done everything to reach out to our sister. He is anxious and loves us all more than anything. He's so proud of all of us, and I know he wants my sister's forgiveness. However, she stomps around calling his affair partner an S, and our little sister a baby skank, etc. Real spiteful crap. We thought it was unfair, because now people are calling my dad names, and so my brothers and I texted our sister, saying that our dad has sacrificed his life for us, and that it's real crappy she's giving him a hard time when he did everything for us. Our mom is now furious with us, and is demanding we apologize to our sister. Everyone sucks here. I mean, he cheated on your mom, so really if family was everything to him, he wouldn't have done that. Your sister is entitled to her feelings of betrayal and abandonment. Also, why are you so willing to sweep his cheating under the rug? You should be supporting your mother. No a-holes. Your sister is allowed to be mad. Your stepdad ruined your family by cheating. When you cheat on the whole family, not just your spouse. So he intentionally threw away the family he built. He's allowed to be happy with a new baby, but he needs to accept the hurt he caused to get there. I don't think I can make a call, other than her name calling, especially a baby. Makes her the a-hole. The whole post seems to focus on the wrong thing. Like, the issue isn't her accusing her father of playing favorites. It's that she is mad at your dad for cheating, and it sounds like getting another woman pregnant while married to your mom. You talk about your mom being no angel, but don't give much specifics, and then say she didn't cheat, but that it was bad enough that you took your dad's side. It sounds like everyone kinda sucks for taking sides at all. Refuse to engage with the drama. I, female 33, was married to my husband, male 38, for 4 years. 10 years together in total, before we got divorced 3 years ago. The cause of our divorce was him cheating with a woman, female 22. We have 2 kids, male 6 and female 4 together. I have primary custody over our kids. His affair partner moved with him and his mom after the divorce, and they have a 3-month-old boy. My ex and I still have to co-parent our kids, so we are in contact regularly. We also live a few blocks away. Particularly as my own family lives away, and I don't always want to bother friends or neighbors. I still call them when we have a problem in our home. I mean problems with the car, a faucet leaking, if he needs to pick up the kids from school because something came up to me, etc. His affair partner has complained before, although my ex told her he had a responsibility with his kids and needs to help. However, in the last few months, she's been complaining a lot more. My ex told me this a few times. My ex-mother-in-law, who lives with them, also told me that affair partner complains all the time because my ex has to help us out sometimes, and she has had to tell her to not get in between my ex and his kids. Honestly, if she would just complain to him, then I wouldn't care. But last Thursday I had to call him because our youngest had a bad cough, so I told him to go to the drugstore to buy some syrup for him. It was late, like 1 a.m. when I called him. While I was talking to him about what syrup to buy, his affair partner took the phone, and she had the nerve to tell me it was late and to stop thinking that her husband was going to run after me wherever I wanted. I told her to stay out of it and to let me talk with my ex. She continued complaining and told me he was not going to go buy stuff for me, and if I needed something, I could go to the drugstore myself because he's with his family and she and her kids need him too. She told me I'm monopolizing his time. I told her that quite honestly, I don't care about her or her needs. Neither do I care for the needs of their kid. She called me names and told me I kept everything after the divorce, and I still pretend I'm still married to my ex. She told me he has a new family, and I don't know what else. I got sick and told her if she didn't want a guy with a family, then she shouldn't have ducked married men. I told her I'll wait for the syrup and hung up. He did bring the syrup a while later, so I was willing to let it go. My ex-mother-in-law came to visit the kids on Saturday, and she told me that affair partner got very angry, and her and my ex had a big argument. She ended up leaving with the baby and hasn't come back. Later, I was talking with my coworker about this, and she told me she does kind of get affair partner's point, and she told me I was kind of mean for telling her she's not important, especially since she had a baby not long ago and may be going through a hard time. I don't think I was out of place, but what do you think? Edit. He told me to call him if anything broke in my house. He doesn't mind it. Only his affair partner does mind. Edit 2. AF equals affair partner. I live in Argentina, so I don't know what delivery service there is in USA. I don't think it's weird at all to have him do these kinds of house fixes at all. Maybe it's weird in other countries, but I know more than one ex-husband who still takes care of their ex-wife's house too. If it's not an emergency, it can be hard to find a plumber, electrician, mechanic, as they would likely have a week of waiting list, or months in the case of mechanic. I'm a little torn on this. While I agree that problems specifically with the kids should involve your ex, things like making sure they are picked up from school or the cough syrup situation, I'm less sure of this. I mean, problems with the car, a faucet leaking, those are really no longer his problems. You are an adult and are responsible for your home and car. Those issues fall more under husband than co-parent. So it's quite possible that this was just the straw that broke the camel's back for her. While it's completely reasonable to ask a co-parent to go out and get cough syrup for a sick child, since you had to be home with the kids, it's not reasonable for him to drop everything for issues that deal with home or car maintenance. He cheated. Yes, he is an a-hole for that. But you guys are now divorced. He no longer has an obligation to you personally. His only obligation is to his kids. She sucks for thinking that this was all going to be some fairy tale and treating you like some wicked ex who is after her man. She is obviously insecure. But then again, you don't seem like you understand the difference between co-parent and spouse. Everyone sucks here. Not the a-hole. For whatever reason, people are confusing him helping out with things at the home where his kids live, with him going for a middle-of-the-night medicine run like most parents have at some point. The affair partner choosing to duck a married man doesn't negate his responsibility to his kids. He should be helping with stuff like that. If the affair partner didn't want her husband to be doing his duty as a parent, she shouldn't have been ducking a man with kids. Truly, I can't believe that OP's being called the a-hole for not having proper boundaries with a married father. Literally, the current wife was literally sleeping with a married man of 2. Like, now she's concerned with boundaries? Current wife's just scared that she's next to be left by the husband, honestly. My, female 30, husband, male 36, was previously married and has a daughter, female 13, with his ex-wife, female 38. His ex-wife and daughter moved overseas for his career, but she couldn't accept the change and missed her family too much, so she moved back home with daughter, and this was final straw that led to their divorce. My husband and I are together for 6 years, married for 3. He visits his daughter overseas anytime he has time off work, and I sometimes come with him. He has good relationships with his ex-wife's father and stepmother. They also like me a lot. They always invite me over, invite to eat out and drinks. But pretty much every time we see them, they're being a bit much with retelling all the memories of my husband and his ex being together back in the day, early age of their daughter, which was interesting first couple of times, but not every time for years to come. I have good relationships with my stepdaughter. She likes me a lot. My husband has a very bad relationship with his ex-wife. They communicate only via emails, very rarely. Since we live overseas, my stepdaughter was too young to visit us in our house, but now she's getting older, and ex-wife's stepmom asked if we would like her, stepmom, to fly over with stepdaughter and stay in our house for a couple of weeks this summer. My husband and I both thought it's a bit extreme, but he said that my decision would be final, if it's something I can tolerate. I said no, and suggested that there's other options to have his daughter over. For example, one of us or both can fly with her. That's apart from using airline services for assisting kids traveling alone. We both have good income, so financially it's not a big deal. Ex-wife got very angry about this, my decision, and wrote my husband an angry email saying I'm an a-hole who's alienating husband from their daughter. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. The situation is just too weird. And OP is not alienating him from his daughter. Daughter's time should be his alone. You gave them a perfectly good solution. They're the a-holes. Not the a-hole. You're not alienating the dad and daughter. You offered an alternate solution, which was one or both of you could accompany her. You just don't want to have to host the ex-mother-in-law for a couple weeks. That's reasonable. 2 weeks is a long time. It does sound like she has been good to you, So if you or your husband care about that relationship, you might want to make the sacrifice and host her. You're not the a-hole, by the way. Not the a-hole. It sounds like the ex just wants her stepmother there to supervise the visit or something. I don't think it has anything to do with travel plans, especially since you guys are willing to escort her yourselves. I think this has everything to do with her just not trusting the two of you with her daughter for 2 weeks. She's also just trying to find an excuse to say that the daughter won't be allowed to visit. So my 52 male family has an heirloom ring that's been passed down from oldest son to oldest son for the past few generations. It was my great-grandfather's ring that he used to propose to my great-grandmother, and they gave it to their oldest son to propose to his wife. That's how it's always gone, until now. You see, I inherited the ring from my dad, but I had no sons myself. I was, however, blessed with 3 wonderful daughters, Michelle, 27, Fiona, 24, and Emily, 21. Recently, Michelle came to me to ask if she could use the ring to propose to her longtime girlfriend, Susanna, 27. I hesitated, but agreed, giving her the ring as well as my blessing. Last week, Michelle proposed while they were out during a romantic dinner, and Susanna said yes. They later posted an announcement on social media, which included a picture of Susanna wearing the family ring. After the announcement was posted, I got a message from my brother, Greg, 49. He sent me a long rant that basically boiled down to, that ring belongs to my son, and you disrespected the family tradition by giving the ring to a girl. Some background on Greg and his son. Greg is my younger brother, and we never got along. It started out as a normal brother rivalry, but even into our 20s, he remained determined to one-up me at every turn. Greg knocked up his college girlfriend, now wife, Janice, with his son Tyler when he was 20. When he proposed, he asked our dad for the ring, but our dad refused because I was older. Unbeknownst to me, Greg had assumed that since I had no sons, I'd be giving Tyler the ring when he wanted to propose to his girlfriend, Ashley. Greg told me to take the ring back for Michelle and Susanna. I said hell no. Since then, Janice, Greg, and Tyler have been passive-aggressively talking about me behind my back to the rest of the family, accusing me of dishonoring our family's tradition. Whatever happens, I won't be taking the ring back, but I want to know, am I the a-hole for what I did? And so once again, the ring has been used by the eldest child of the eldest child to make their proposal. The family tradition was always going to change slightly. There is no oldest son of an eldest son this time, and your father had already been clear about it not going to Greg. So quite how Greg expected it to go to his son, I don't know. Most importantly, I think you absolutely respected the tradition, because the tradition is about welcoming a new bride-to-be to the family. I wish you and Michelle and Susanna, and indeed Fiona and Emily, and any partners they have in the future, every happiness. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. The ring belongs to you, full stop. Giving it to the nephew would be a break in tradition, just as much as your oldest daughter. Not the a-hole. I think you've appropriately updated the tradition to match your family's needs. It's none of your brother's business. He should be giving his niece his best wishes instead of acting entitled.